Hello everyone, welcome back to Rob's Movie Reviews. As you can see, I've got my daughter Chloe with me here today, and that's because as of this video, I'm going to start a three-part series on the Dark Knight trilogy, the best series of Batman films ever made in my personal opinion. Chloe is a big fan of the Dark Knight movies, and obviously we're going to start out with the first film, Batman Begins. So, right off the bat, what was the things you liked about it, Chloe?
I liked Batman.
Well, I know you like Batman. Is there any specific things about the movie that you enjoyed?
No, not really. It's like the movie. I'm not.
Was there anything that you didn't like about it?
Um,
Things that you think they could have done different or better?
Let me think. No.
So you were satisfied with it just the way it was?
Yes.
Well, I have to say I agree because I really can't see how they could have improved on that movie a whole lot. I love the way they do the long opening segment backstory on Bruce Wayne and how he goes and coexists among criminals for several years so that he can learn from them and learn their tendencies, and it helps him in his journey to becoming Batman. I believe they never really specify, but I believe it's somewhere in China or Tibet where he is recruited by Ra's al Ghul while he's in prison there. And when he's released, he climbs to the top of a mountain where Ra's al Ghul's temple is. And he's trained by Ra's al Ghul how to fight, not only to fight as a ninja, but also to overcome his deepest, darkest fears and actually use them as weapons against his enemy.
Spoiler alert, he becomes an evil villain. Ra's al Ghul does.
Well, I think anybody that's familiar with Batman already knows that, but
he's
yeah.
evil. But all the people I don't
Bruce eventually returns home to Gotham City, and
like,
when he gets home, that's when he finds out that the man who murdered his parents, Joe Chill, is up for parole to be released from prison. And Bruce gets a pistol and hides it in his jacket and goes to the courthouse with every intention of murdering Joe Chill. That's how upset he is about the idea of him getting out.
But then somebody does it for him.
That's right. Somebody beats him to the punch, and when he reveals his intentions to his lifelong friend, Rachel, played by,
Hold on, let me look at
what is her name? Katie Holmes, I believe.
Wait, where's Rachel at? Oh.
But anyhow, when he reveals this to her, she gets very angry with him, and he goes into the nightclub in the underground part of Gotham City and confronts, what is the crime boss's name? Can't think of it right off the top of my head.
Crime boss.
The main crime boss at that particular time in Gotham, who he also feels is responsible for his parents' death by bringing Gotham down the way he has and getting the city just overrun with crime. Falcone. He goes to see Falcone. That's the main crime boss. Bruce gets tossed out on his ear. Basically, he gets beat up by Falcone's bodyguards. He gets tossed out. He goes through some more ups and downs before he finally comes to terms with the fact that he has to use his bottled up anger and his fears and turn them, like I said earlier, as weapons against his enemies. And that's when Batman is born. And he takes out Falcone, and in the process, he basically smokes out and makes him reveal himself, another villain who had been in league with Falcone, smuggling drugs into Gotham City, a villain that calls himself the Scarecrow.
And you know those drugs, if you take them, things get really scary, like you're very scared.
Because there's drugs hidden inside the drugs that Falcone has been smuggling.
Drugs.
Well, Falcone's smuggling in heroin, and fused with the heroin is the drug that Dr. Kane, who is actually the Scarecrow, and he extracts his chemical from the drugs and uses it to poison Gotham's water supply. And also they stole a super powerful microwave emitter from Wayne Industries, which they're going to use to vaporize the city's water supply. And when all the water pipes break and the steam comes out, everybody in the city will be exposed to the drug that's hidden in the chemical, or the chemical that's hidden in the steam, and the entire city will go insane and tear itself apart.
Because we're scared.
And this is when we find out that Scarecrow is also in league with Ra's al Ghul, who we had been led to believe earlier in the film had died when Bruce burnt down his temple, but he's actually still alive. And a huge battle ensues between Batman and Ra's al Ghul.
And he burns down his house.
Yes, Ra's al Ghul destroys Bruce Wayne's house. But in the end, as always, Batman comes out on top. And Gotham City is, at least for the meantime, saved.
Until the next movie.
And that's pretty much the story of Batman Begins. It's a great movie, well written. I personally feel like Christian Bale is probably the best Batman I've ever seen of anybody that's ever played the part. Christian Bale is a wonderful Batman. The movie is very, the cinematography is outstanding in this movie. It's just, I can't find any fault with this film. This is really one of the greatest Batman movies ever made, and it was the perfect beginning to the Dark Knight trilogy. And next week, if Chloe wants, she can join me back again, and we'll review the second installment to the Dark Knight series, entitled The Dark Knight.
Wait, but did you know that Batman's worst fear, his deepest, darkest fear, is bats?
That's right. He was terrified by bats as a little boy, and he used that to. He overcame that fear, and then uses the bat to strike fear into the heart of criminals.
So he's ruler.
So it's kind of not only is he physically capable of defeating just about anybody he encounters in a fight, but he also has the psychological advantage over them by dressing up as a bat and making himself appear much more frightening and menacing. But be sure to join us next week when we'll be doing a review of the second installment, The Dark Knight. And until then, y'all take care.
Scary old man.